Hello loves, welcome back to the Art of Light Love. My name is Joanna. I'm a intuitive medium, sound healer, Reiki practitioner, all of the above hippie stuff, as well as being a one-on-one conscious coach specializing in shadow work coaching. So helping people to become aware of their self-limiting beliefs in order to embrace them, accept them, overcome them, and move forwards in their life. And I just started a challenge called the Stillness and Sound Challenge. And today I filmed day one. So every day around 8 a.m. CST, I'll be going live, both on Facebook and on YouTube. And if you want to join my Facebook group, I'll put the link down below. The Facebook group has a lot more juicy stuff, like a free workbook to go along with the challenge. I'll be uploading daily videos like oracle pulls. We'll be having discussions with the community. Like, it's really cool. It's a really cool space and I really recommend it. So I'll put the link to the Facebook group down below, as well as link to day number 1 of the challenge, so that if whenever you want to do it in your own time, you're more than welcome. You don't have to join me live. But I can already see that the themes that come up in the daily challenges will start to bleed through as ideas that I create for content for this channel. And because everything I do is channeled, when I did the guided meditation this morning, I don't plan these things in advance. I just say, Spirit, I'm open, and Spirit uses me, channels through me the exact words, tone, frequencies that need to come through, right? And today the theme came through. First day's theme was sitting in stillness. Obviously it's a challenge called sitting in stillness and sound. So yeah, I wanted to really focus on the stillness aspect of the challenge today. And what came through was this specific metaphor, that the mind is like a dog that just hasn't been trained. Hear me out. The mind is constantly trying to work for us. It's constantly trying to come up with solutions, see patterns, remind you of things you may have forgotten, make you aware of things, point things out. The ego and the mind simply work together to protect you. And the mind hasn't been given a job to do, and so it just tries to do everything. It's like if you had a puppy, right? A puppy who hundreds and thousands of years ago, these dogs, these wolves, they were either wild as wolves, and so they could roam and they had to like hunt and survive, and they had to always be on all the time, like or when we domesticated them, they were then trained and bred for certain purposes. They were trained to work in the farms, to work with animals, to pull sleds, to hunt. They were trained as tools that were put to use by their masters. And so they had purpose, they had satisfaction, and they used up all of their energy. Nowadays, when you have a dog that was once bred to pull sleds for thousands of miles for hours at a time, they're now expected to sit on the couch all day with their owner watching TV, or alone by themselves for 8 hours a day whilst their owner goes out to work. And then the owner comes home and wonders why that dog's always barking, why it's taking shits on the floor all the time, why it's always trying to get their attention. They're tired, they just came back from work, they just want to like chill, and the dog wants to be stroked and played and walked. It's because that dog has a lot of energy and it has been given no purpose and no direction. And think about it this way. If you have a puppy, say you have a puppy and you bring it home and you're like, okay, sit. It's not sitting. Why is it not sitting? Oh, I give up. That puppy has not been trained. If you don't train that puppy's going to be shitting everywhere, pissing everywhere, biting everything, barking all the time. It's never going to come up, listen to your commands. It's never going to come to you when you want it to come. Walking, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. All because you haven't trained the dog. You've taken something with pure energy and pure potential and left it to its own devices. And then you wonder why it doesn't listen to your commands, why it's always running amok. It is exactly the same thing with your mind. And when you start to think about your mind in this concept, in this way, as a puppy that just hasn't been trained, then and you can begin to, light bulb moment. I can't sit back with a disciplined dog and just let it run amok, right? A big purpose of people meditating and coming into stillness and doing yoga and all of this stuff is to like still their mind, calm their mind. It's like telling an untrained puppy to shut up. It's just going to look at you like, and go back to doing what it wants to do. Barking, crying, scratching, biting. Your mind, just because you've decided to sit down for the first time in 2 years and listen to a meditation track, is not suddenly going to be quiet just because you want it to. You have to train the mind. It is a disciplined practice of daily training. And that's another thing. You can't simply train a puppy one day and then leave it a week, come back and try and do the same thing. Or train it once and then hope that it's learned its lesson now. Training a puppy is difficult. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the travel vlogs I did when I was looking after 17 puppies at once. Oh, gosh, I still have PTSD from listening to those puppies cry all night long. Oh gosh, but I'll put it up here because it's quite a funny watch. But those puppies were awful, untrained. There were too many of them. It was just me by myself, like I couldn't. And it was difficult even just looking after them, let alone trying to sit down and train them. I didn't even bother. But if you've ever tried to train a puppy, you know that it is difficult. They don't want to be trained. They want to be free. They want to explore. They have all this energy, blah. And it's up to you as the master of your puppy, as the master of your mind, to sit down and be patient. And it's all about patience and discipline. If you can be patient with yourself, patient with a mind that is grown up running amok. If you're like me, I'm still in the infancy of my meditation practice. My mind spins all day, all night. Brrr. It's like a supercomputer that is constantly analyzing, constantly looking, constantly aware. It's just on all the time. There is no off button. Keeps me up at night. That's how much it spins, right? But it's up to me to put in the coding for my mind. It's up to me to be the master of my mind. But that also means bringing awareness and gentle patience to yourself. When you're sitting in meditation and you see and feel your mind's trying to tell you about the lists, about the things you got to do, it's pointing out things you can hear, see, smell, taste. It's asking you questions. It's asking you, did you lock the door? Did you remember to turn the oven off? Should you have made your bed? What did that person say to you 20 years ago? You can remember it. It's so close to the tip of your... If you sit there and get mad at yourself, you get angry, you get mad, you shame yourself, judge yourself, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. Because everybody knows that when you train anything and anyone, the best way to train is with positive reinforcement and redirection. Oh, I've spun off into the future again. That's okay. I notice that I've done that and I'm gently going to bring myself back into the now. Oh, I've started to think about a conversation I had yesterday. That's okay. I've noticed it and I'm going to bring myself back into the now. That's okay. I've noticed it. I'm going to bring myself back into the now. This is a mantra. This is something to help bring you back without being like, oh God, I've thought about the future again. My mind just won't stop. It's so annoying. No one responds to that. So why would you? Puppies don't respond to harshness. They respond to firmness. And there is a difference between being firm and disciplined and being harsh and critical. Human beings don't like criticism. It's just not in our nature. And in fact, we're more likely to turn away from what you want us to do if we receive criticism for it all the time. And we are the same. We are the same. And so if you have been desperately trying for years to get this little mind to shut up. If you've been trying to meditate and every time you sit down, off you go, it's gone. Actually, your mind uses that now as a chance to dissociate because you're not moving. If you have been trying and trying and trying, then try this. Try to train your mind as you would a small child or a puppy, with positive reinforcement and direction, with firmness, with discipline, with daily practices, and with an understanding that your mind is powerful. Powerful. Your mind is pure, untapped potential, and all it wants is to serve you. That's why it's doing all of this. It's not to drive you insane. It's not to drive you crazy. It's like that dog chewing at the pillows. It's not because it wants to annoy its owner. It's because it has so much energy and it hasn't been given a purpose. It hasn't been given anything to do. A couple chew toys and 8 hours alone are not going to do anything for that dog. It needs to be out in the fields. It needs to be trained. It needs to be running, doing what it was initially bred for. Not sitting on the sofa day in, day out, not moving, getting fat because the owner doesn't want to walk it and feeds it too much. Your mind is the same. Your mind wants to work for you, but you need to give it something to work for. One of the practices I did in today's challenge meditation, and again, the link to that will be down below if this is resonating and it's something that you want to help cultivate, because this is what I will be talking about, and these are the kind of practices that I will be doing in the daily challenge. One of the things I said today was give your mind something to do. Today's meditation is not about trying to go blank. We're not trying to sprint before we can even crawl here, people. Give your mind something to do. And if you find that you're trying to sit in stillness and silence and meditation and your mind is just spinning, ask your mind questions. Remember, it is a supercomputer. Type in your question and get a response. And the question that I asked people today was, mind, what do you notice? Mind, what do you notice? Sitting there in stillness with your eyes open or closed, mind, what do you notice? And just listen. There might be a pause where your mind goes, grrr. Wait, she's asking me a question? She's putting me to work. Oh my gosh, okay. What do we notice? Okay, I can see red curtains and sunlight and there's cobwebs. I should probably, clean those cobwebs. What else do I notice? There's voices in the background. I can hear voices. I can hear birds actually when I extend my mind. My mind can expand. It can listen to things far away. Okay, what else can I hear? Can I hear the leaves rustling? Can I hear cars? And then once your mind has run out of things to list for you, or if you gently guide it and say, okay, mind, thank you for noticing everything outside of myself, like the tuk-tuk passing by. I'm in Guatemala, there's no silence. Be like, okay, mind, what do you notice inside? Brrr. Another pause. Like an over-enthusiastic child who's been pointing out everything that they can see. They're like, oh, what do I notice inside? Oh, okay, there's an, like talking about myself right now. As soon as I said that, I was like, oh, there's an ache running from my right hip all the way down through my right thigh. My big toe hurts from where I stubbed it yesterday. Oh, my shoulders are a bit hunched. I'm not breathing. That's better. I notice that when I sit up, I can breathe a whole lot better than when I crouch like that. I'm noticing that I'm actually a little bit hungry. My throat's a little dry. I could use some water. Actually, I might drink. This is a reminder. Go grab yourself a glass of water. But these are some little tricks, little tips, where you can start asking your mind to work for you. This is the art of contemplation, and I'll put that above as well, the video I created, the art of contemplation. Because often we think that when we meditate, we've got to go completely blank and allow answers to come to us. And sometimes that is the way. There are so many different ways to meditate. There are different ways that people's minds work. When I meditate, I oscillate between wanting to go to complete stillness and wanting to contemplate. And contemplation is something as simple as You can contemplate on one of the seraphs on a tree of life, for example. You can contemplate on a phrase. Look up a philosophical quote and then contemplate that quote. You can contemplate a picture, looking at a picture. Contemplation is just the art of thinking and listening, of asking your mind questions and hearing responses, of following little pathways. Contemplation is a beautiful way to meditate, and it's a way that utilizes the supercomputer of your mind instead of shutting it off. You know, a lot of us just want, the computer's been running for so long that all we want to do is hold down the start button and do a whole reboot. And as much as we use metaphors like the mind is a puppy that needs to be trained and the mind is a computer, our mind is a mind. There is no reboot button. There is no leash, no shock collar that we can put around the mind that will stop it from biting things, stop it from spinning around. The mind is a tool. And when you learn to use that tool, and when you can cultivate that tool so that it serves you instead of driving you absolutely barking mad, pun intended, you will begin to understand the true meaning of peace. So I hope that's given you some food for thought. And if you have, here's something you could contemplate on if you wanted to go and meditate. You could contemplate in what ways can I use my mind to serve me and my greatest good, or the greatest good. Or you could go to the tree of life and contemplate on the seraph of wisdom, of understanding, or of earth and grounding and kingdom. You could type in philosophical quote in Google and contemplate the first one that pops up. Or ask yourself, mind, what do you notice? And yeah, little tips like these will keep cropping up throughout the challenge that I'm doing, 30 days of stillness and sound. Today, the 29th of March, was day number 1. I put all the links down below. I have a whole playlist in the link in the box down below, the link to my Facebook group, again, where you can get the workbook, where you can join me live every day. I'll be going live every day, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I would love to see you there, because I'll be taking us through guided meditation every day, mantras every day, singing, as well as some form of movement or sensual touch to bring us back into the body and ground us into our day. And I think 30 minutes to an hour is a very minimal amount of time to dedicate to training your puppy. And so with that, and with the little bird cawing in the background and the tuk-tuk passing by, I will leave it there for now. I hope to see you at the challenge. You can do it in your own time as well, because the lives will all be saved either on the playlist that I put down below on YouTube, or all of them will be saved on the Facebook group itself. So with that, my name is Joanna. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today. I hope that you've managed to gain even a little granule salt of wisdom here today. Something that has helped you, that you may be able to use in your meditation practices moving forwards. And I hope that you go ahead and have a fantastic day. Take care.